From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
The name's Nukem, Duke Nukem, and you're watching the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast. I don't know why, but you are.
What is up, nerds? Welcome back to our X-Men series. We're doing X-Men Dark Phoenix, and joining me on the podcast this evening, the one, the only, master of comic books himself, it's Mr. Rob. Do we need to go back and watch 97? Because it is on Disney Plus, and it is very good.
I mean, never not watch it.
Fair enough. But dude, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a bit beat. Landscaping in the fall is a bitch.
Well, good news. All the leaves are almost down. But then it snows. And I know you have a lot to do when it snows.
Only at home. I don't do snow as a job.
What was with the accent there? I don't do snow. No, snow is not for me.
I blame my goddamn boss.
So
starting to sound like him too.
We are talking about 2019's X-Men Dark Phoenix. Starring Sophie Turner, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Hoult, Ty Sheridan. And it is Simon Kinberg's directorial debut. This movie cost about $200 million to make, and it only brought home domestically $252.4 million. So it made a profit, but I am very sure Fox or at Disney at the point, not happy with how poor it did at the box office. This movie was completely shot, filmed, edited while the acquisition happened at Disney when they took over 20th Century Fox, and Disney basically said, we have to put out the movie. We have to try to make some money off of this, because when you buy a company, Rob, as you know, you take over all their debt as well.
Yep.
So it's basically Disney trying to stay face. This movie, I know Rob has a lot of words for. For me, it was just a jumbled mess. It was very much a jumbled mess. There were parts of it that, okay, I like where this is going. It's telling at least some sort of a story. But as you hit about the halfway point of the movie, it's like they're just throwing stuff against the wall, hoping something sticks. And what sticks is not good.
What sticks just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
And do you think, Rob, before we get into your comments, because I'm very excited to hear what you have to say, do you think there's a little bit of X-Men fatigue in this movie?
I think it's hitting real hard on this one.
Because this came out very close to Logan. Logan came out first. Everybody was on such a high leaving Logan, and then first reviews of this movie come out, and it is trash. And the movie had potential, but
it had so much potential. I have notes. This is a PC build, but I have non-physical notes.
Yeah, we'll get there. You have the returning cast of the newer X-Men. But for some of them, and I hate to do this because I share a birthday with her and I like a lot of the other stuff she's in, for me, it feels like some of these actors, including Jennifer Lawrence, are there for the paycheck and just phoning it in. Like there was not a moment she was on screen where I cared. Like it was her going through her lines like this. Ching.
Like she was disassociating.
Yeah. Same thing with Nicholas Holt too. It was more appalling for him because of what happens in the movie. He's supposed to have all this, and it's not there. Like James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender were phenomenal, as they always are.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating for me because I went in blind. I didn't watch a trailer. I've never seen the movie until today, and an hour 14 minutes, and I'm like, this movie didn't need to be made. But
Or not made like this.
yeah, and it really feels like Simon Kinberg pulled so much from other movies that he didn't make his own movie. Like, you see other X-Men references, you see Logan references, you see Batman references, and it just felt like there are so many other movies in this movie that then made this movie not make sense. But Rob, the floor is yours. I'm gonna go get my popcorn.
All right. I have one thing I need to say first. The Dabari. The Dabari. Why the Dabari?
Uh, doing research literally in the last 20 minutes before we went live. They went with the Dabari because the MCU was already in the works with using scrolls.
Yeah, here's the thing. They had the Shi'ar. They had the Kree. They had about there was also the Dark Specters.
Yep.
You could have pulled the stuff from Rom Space Knight. There were options. The Dabari. You want to know who the Dabari were in the comic books? A footnote that said, and then they died too.
Oof.
This is what happened. When Jean got the Dark Phoenix powers, she needed to, revitalize herself. So she ate their star. That made it go boom and kill most of the Dabari.
And then they were pissed.
Yeah, and then there was this whole duel on the blue side of the moon thing. And then she blew up willingly. It was weird, but it made sense if you were following along. This came out of nowhere with the Dabari. It made no sense to me. So that was one thing. I get it. They could be, not scrolls. You had other shape-shifting options, but you could have just not went with them.
Yeah.
And instead just gone with the Shi'ar, who have, to this point, not been shown in any Marvel adaptation on film. I do believe. And they had a important part in the Dark Phoenix saga. And it's disappointing that they again, that potential failed to use it. Just, we need to use shapeshifters, but we can't use scrolls, so we'll use searches up every shapeshifter known in the Marvel universe, and then goes with the one that looks the most alien. Dabari.
Like, I kind of felt bad for Jessica Chastain. Like,
She felt wooden. There were times when I
Yeah.
thought she was just a puppet. like a legitimate marionette. Like I was looking for the string when we were seeing the back of her head
Yep.
in that car scene when they were driving to the meeting. I thought that was legitimately a mannequin with a freaking wig on. And for all I know, it could have been. But Jesus, she did not get the chance to emote.
At all. And it would, if they happened to have said, oh, they're not used to shapeshifting into humans, it's difficult for them to act like humans. If they said something along the lines of that, it makes it.
And you kind of get a hint of that's where they were maybe going with it. But then you throw in people who have definitely been there for at least over a decade. What with the police officer, the
Yep.
like a CIA agent, you had all these backgrounds. They've been there for a while.
Just,
Uh,
I had a huge issue with this movie, as I said before. I It's been a while since it felt like, oh, I just watched a movie. I just wasted my time. I could have
and
literally have gone onto YouTube and just watched a, you know, movie
a
explained
recap.
for like a 6 minute video and be able to tell you the exact same stuff.
Yeah.
And I hate that because Jean Grey is such an amazing character, not just in comic books, not in the animated series. I loved her character in the 2000s X-Men.
Yes.
That whole with Cyclops, Wolverine, and her, amazing. Like, I cared watching those movies. I could give a rat's ass during this movie, and that sucks because I very much enjoy Sophie Turner.
Yeah, these were all great actors. They weren't given the potential to be good actors in this movie.
I don't know if
Um,
I think it definitely shows for Simon, um, the director, that this is his first movie.
it does. It does show that he's a novice at this. And it's a pity that this had to be his first one.
Mhm.
Uh, but you don't I get it's like the third one in the series that they're doing for this. So they're like they phoned it in with this guy.
Yep.
But man, what they did to Beast, like I get that he was supposed to be angry, but if the guy doesn't emote, it just feels like he's doing shit because he can.
So it looks like, for the most part, he is very valuable as a writer or producer. Because I've never heard of his other direct movie that he directed. It's called The 355.
I've not heard of it.
Yeah. Um, but listen to some of the movies that he's either been a producer or writer on. Triple X State of the Union, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, X-Men The Last Stand, Jumper, Sherlock Holmes, uh, the Cinderella remake, Deadpool, Logan, Deadpool 2, The New Mutants, which we'll talk to in a little while. You know, he's got The Martian. He's got a lot of good movies he's attached to. But it seems like, at
He
least
couldn't
for.
bring that in.
Yeah. And it's very unfortunate.
And the fan servicey moments that we got made me more angry, which is not something your fan service should do.
Mm,
One of the party scene when they're celebrating
yeah.
had one of my more favorite side character X-Men, Dazzler. I don't get to see her very often in a lot of comic books. Very underused in my opinion. I'd like to see her more, but just showing her for a minute
Rob,
hurts.
you'll like this. He's credited as a writer, executive producer, and part creator of Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, there you go. Where was any of that talent here?
Uh, yeah, yeah,
Where
yeah.
where was your star powered skill?
I honestly think with
Um,
Star Wars Rebel, I think Jon Favreau has a lot, like a big hand in that.
yeah.
Who's the
Yeah.
other guy? The one with the cowboy hat.
Oh God. I don't
You
remember.
know who I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, yeah. Uh the guy who got out Star Wars by Darth Maul.
Yeah,
But another big gripe I had with this movie was
Dave Filoni.
uh Dave Filoni. That Jesus, how did I forget that? Another big gripe I had with this movie was it didn't really have a direction. The other Dark Phoenix sagas had a direction. Now, I will admit, in the comic books, it was very cocaine fueled direction. Like, what the heck? What are you doing now? But that's because the Dark Phoenix is supposed to make her dark. It's supposed to make her evil, not an emo girl wondering why the hell she just killed her mentor. Like, I get it, that's gonna mess you up, but you've seen X2,
Yep.
X-Men United, where she goes Dark Phoenix. She goes dark and just slaughters people.
Yeah.
Like there's no thought. And if you look at the face of her comic book appearance, she's reveling in the destruction she's causing.
There
Um,
was maybe a 10-15 second period in this movie where you saw it,
yeah,
and
you
that
get a
was it.
hint of a taste
And that's where
of,
she's at the top of the staircase,
and I'd also
talking
say,
to Magneto.
I'd also say, right when she was messing with the helicopters,
Yep.
just a little bit there, and then at the end when she's fighting the Dabari.
So, well, we go from 2019's X-Men Dark Phoenix to 2000's X-Men. So we are going back.
Mm.
The first X-Men. For anybody watching at home and doesn't know, this is directed by Bryan Singer. It's got Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen, Halle Berry, James Marsden. Um, yeah, I'm excited to go back through these
Yeah,
because at
there
least
is.
for the most part, these were good. Granted, there's I think
I
one of them that isn't great.
I will give Dark Phoenix one credit. One, just the one. See the one? It's right there. The
Oh, I thought that
one
was your middle
credit.
finger.
No, the one credit. They actually addressed Professor X's mastermind streak and his manipulative tendencies.
Oh, when they're at the dinner table and him and Beast are having that conversation that this is your
Yes,
fault.
and it actually goes somewhere.
Yeah,
He steps back, he gives the reins to Beast, and he says he is done with that.
and he
That is
retires to
good.
France.
That was a good direction. I'm not sure why France, but okay, sure, why not? But it left one big question, a big problem with this series now. They were supposed to be the bridge to Days of Future Past. That
Mm,
was supposed to be the future.
yep.
And yet, in the middle of this movie, we hear about the U.S. Senate saying, "Hey, we're going to start up the mutant internment camps." What? Where? Where's the good? How do you get to that future now? Like, I want another movie in this series just to see how you unfuck the Phoenix Saga.
Mm.
But I mean, man, you have a mountain to climb to do that.
Well,
But I mean,
Rob, you should be really excited next week. It looks like Deadpool and Wolverine is going to Disney Plus on the 12th.
That's cool. I wish I still had my subscription. Uh,
All right, Rob. Well, any final thoughts before we send everybody home happy? But before we do that, hit that like button, subscribe, follow us on all our social medias. Because we drop a lot of stuff. We have this show, we have our wrestling show, and if something big comes up, I have no problem going live real fast and be like, hey, this is what happened. But Rob, final thoughts, and we're looking towards next week already to a good
Yeah.
movie.
Final thoughts. There is so much more to X-Men than just one failed movie. I think.
Mhm.
This has potential to still go places, to still do things.
I think we're getting a
And
reboot.
I'd be okay with it. I'd be okay with a reboot. As long as they don't make it a continuity reboot like they did in Days of Future Past. If they just did like what they did with the Incredible Hulk, I'd be fine with it.
Mhm.
But I mean, where they go from here, a reboot, I think it would be the best decision
Yeah,
because
I would too.
we've had enough of the 70s, I think.
Or at least put it in the or at least put it in the new X-Men universe that they're building.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's the New Mutants that came out, right?
No, I'm talking about like the Deadpool and Wolverine universe.
Oh, right, yeah. I have still not watched that movie, so I do not know what they built there. I need to see what they cooked. Um, no,
Oh, that
don't you
hurt my
waggle
head.
the don't you waggle those eyebrows at me.
Waggle, waggle, roggle, roggle.
So yeah, there is more to X-Men than just this. I recommend watching an old animated series if you get a chance because uh X-Men and the Wolverine did uh the Dark Phoenix stuff good
Yep.
because that's how it starts. It starts with G detonating and destroying the X Mansion.
Also killing Professor X, which I thought we were gonna see in this movie too.
I did too. That's usually a plot point that Xavier dies. But
I
fucking
thought she literally blows him up,
she blows him up. She
blows the
blows
house
up.
up.
She blows up and blows him and the house up too. There's a lot of ways we're never gonna get House of M. I swear to God, we're never gonna get House of M.
I would love to, but isn't that Wanda?
It is. It's Wanda,
Isn't
but Wanda's
isn't
also
that
supposed to be a mutant.
also true? Because doesn't Wanda say no more mutants and poof?
Yeah. Uh, after everyone was a mutant, because there was this whole thing before then where a lot of people gained mutant powers
Mm-hmm.
because she wanted to make a perfect world. So her first thing was, I'm gonna make everyone a mutant. Now no one's gonna be a problem. Oh, now this is a massive problem. No, now my family's dead. Fuck it, no more mutants. And then Wolverine fucks it up in the end.
Yeah, one of my guys that I watch on YouTube, unfortunately passed away earlier in the year. Called Comic Storian. Um, he had a great because he broke down the whole House of M storyline. Awesome, like beautifully to the point where I I want to see that, like actually see that.
Yeah, this is one of the things I've always been saying. Uh, if you want further information, go to Comic Storian. He was a great uh font of knowledge. because it's essentially he turns it into a motion comic.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he was in an accident earlier in the year. So what he has on YouTube will hopefully live on forever because, unfortunately, he did pass away earlier on in the year.
Yeah, there are other people who do what he did, but nowhere near as good.
Yeah, right.
He was the reason I fell in love with Gwenpool, the story,
Yeah.
and the character.
Well,
But yeah, those are my closing thoughts there.
all right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in. This was a very fun 25 minutes where we get to crap on a movie that we very much hoped was good. But we'll see you guys next Thursday for X-Men 2000. Bye, everybody.
Seriously, the Dabari?
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.